We're here at the BMW International Open in Munich. The course is set, the players are ready, and for the first time, the NTT Data Wall is here, with every shot, hole, and player covered. Welcome to the NTT Data experience, and welcome to Golfclub Eichenried. Here is your host.
Hello and welcome. We're here in Munich for the final day of BMW's International Open. I'm Andy Clark and I'm here with Frank von Eitzen, who is involved at BMW's Data Analytics, and Oliver Kurt, who is NTT Data's Chief Technology Officer here in Germany. Welcome to you both. Today we'll be talking about how technology is shaping sports, the importance of partnership, but of course the golf. And I have to say, Frank, the atmosphere has been really building. We're at the final day, and I think that atmosphere has come back because of the fans. What is it like to have them back?
Well, it's great. I visited the BMW Open last year also, and today it's great. You see people, you see this booth and everything on. I think that boosts a lot, and it quite feels good.
How important is it to have fans back having that live sporting experience, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's not only nice for the fans, but it's also important for the players. So the players really respond to the cheering of the fans. For them, it's a much better experience. And at the end, it will be a better event with better results because there's more energy into it.
Also, for fans, they not only get to, of course, come here, see their favorite players, they get a sneak peek at some of BMW's latest offerings.
Yeah, for sure. I saw a few of our vehicles here, and I really like them. They are presented very well, and yeah, they earn it.
Any favorites?
Currently, I think I'd like the iX most, but I'm also very proud of the i7, the new i7, because it's a bold statement. I know the design is somehow controversial, but it's a brave and bold statement, and it's fully electric.
And also the NTT Data Pavilion has a golf tech experience.
Yes, what we are showing is actually the future of sports experience that we have, and we show it with golf, but it also applies to other types of sports. And it generates a holographic experience of the sport, so that you can actually get a much better experience, almost live experience, even when you are not there. And we believe that even though what we just said, the best thing is to be at the event, but when you cannot be at the event, this is then the second best thing, and a really different level from what you see on television today. So we invite everyone not only to come to our booth, but also look us up in the internet and Google for Kirari, and you will see some really mind-blowing experiences for sports.
Amazing. Well, earlier I had the opportunity to take a tour and get a sense of that fan experience here at the BMW International Open. The gates are open once again to the fans of live golf, and they're streaming in to have their chance to see their favorite players up close. And being on the ground, they get unique experiences you can only have by being here. One of the first things you get to see is the new BMW electric cars that are on display. But on top of that, for the very first time, here at the International BMW Open is the NTT Data Wall. This is a chance for fans to really find out what is happening on the course. They'll find out where the players are, what the rankings are, where they are on the holes, how they're doing on different holes. It's a chance to experience the Open in real time. So of course they're here, the fans, to have that live golf experience, seeing some of the world's best players on the course, but they also have the opportunity to put their skills to the test and do some putting on a green. There is one more thing I'd love to show you, and that's the NTT Data Pavilion. It's Dasha.
Hi.
So tell me about your experience so far here.
It's been very amazing. Usually I don't really have a lot of experience with golf, but in the past few days I've had like a crash course. I'm getting to learn a lot about my colleagues, the work, and of course the great sport. So yeah, it's amazing.
And what's happening over there?
This is our Kirari technology. So basically what people get to do here is they get to play a bit of mini golf, and this camera then projects the image onto our little TV screen where you can then see yourself as a 3D hologram.
Have people been having a go?
Yeah, plenty, and usually they are also very excited to see themselves in a new light and also how sport might look like in the future.
I loved having a look around, but I have to say that data wall is incredible. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so the data wall is actually comprised of 3 sections. And 2 of the sections look pretty familiar. One is a video broadcast from one of the players. And on the other side, you see all the data, all players, all holes, everything. But can you take what's really happening on the golf course out of this vast amount of data? And of course, the answer is no. So what we have done is that we are looking into this data and see what are actually the stories that are happening. Is there a big change in the leadership? Is there excellent performance of one player that we should highlight? And whenever we find such an event, we pull it out and put it in the middle section, which is kind of the magic sauce of our data wall experience, and visualize what's happening there. And especially for golf, where you have a huge area where a lot of things are happening at the same time, this gives you a chance to follow all these little stories that are happening from one place, which is our data wall.
And why did you want to bring such technology to your fans?
Well, basically, I just set a reference to the iX and the i7 with the connected drive platform we use. And it's the same. It's about the experience you get while sitting in a connected vehicle. If you use the older vehicles, maybe you notice that you're somehow connected, but now you have a complete different experience. So we have to collect data, we have to analyze the data. I think that reassembles quite the same feeling that Oliver has about the NTT wall and the golf experience. So we want to bring it to each and every customer. And yeah, I think that's the DNA of BMW, bring the experience of driving and being connected to the customer. So it seems to be for a perfect match.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end, it's all about connecting what's happening in the physical world with the digital world, and then using this digital world to create a meaningful experience that really reflects with your environment, with what's going on, and not just live in a purely digital world as it was maybe like 10 or 20 years ago when you were thinking about computers. So now it's really connected.
And the technology is not just helping the fans, it's also helping the players.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, you get a lot of statistics, but it's even more than that. I mean, playing this whole golf course also requires some endurance, and also in other areas of sports like the endurance area. There is technology helping people to train better, to monitor yourself, to analyze the data and to draw insights out of it and eventually become a better sportsman.
Technology really powering the sports. Bringing the data wall is a complex operation. So earlier we had the opportunity to get a sense of how it was built and find out the technology that's happening behind the wall.
And welcome to the NTT Data Wall here at the heart of the spectator village in the BMW International Open. As you can see, it's really popular with the fans because this is probably the only place in the entire venue where you can see everything that's going on all the time in this one place. But let's take a look and see what's happening behind the wall. So that one big screen there, it's actually made up of 280 individual small screens that are put together in it's completely tight fitting. You can see here it's got made of aluminium and steel scaffolding and 12 tons of weight to keep this thing in place even in wind and rain. And then we have the equipment here that plays out onto those screens, so over 35 kilowatts of power that really power this thing, and also the big amplifiers as well. So this thing's running all the time to make sure fans are kept up to date with what's going on. So if we imagine that this is the skeleton and the muscles of the NTT Data Wall, we're now going to take a look over at the brains. So this is where we collect up 35,000 different shots over the 4 days of this competition, and we're calculating them constantly every 3 or 4 seconds. Ends up being tens of millions of data points. We then calculate and bring out all of those interesting statistics and facts that golf fans really crave. So we're going to take a look inside this control room where we get everything gets put onto that big screen out the front there. Let's have a look. Hi everybody. So this is where we're pulling together all of the data feeds into the final view that goes onto the NTT Data Wall. We'll stitch these together and bring it up into a live feed. So I think we're all ready to go. So Georgie, if you can, get it going.
It's great to see how that wall was built, but it's really down to partnership that made it happen. Frank, I know that you are with BMW, but before that, you were actually NTT Data. Can you tell me a bit about that journey?
Yeah, actually right. We used to be former colleagues, and that for 10 years I think it was about 10 years. But it was a great time. We are always working for our customers, and then I switched to customers. Now, I look at the same topics from a different angle, and sometimes it's quite surprising. Now you can reimagine how it feels to be a provider as well as a customer of the provider. And I think sometimes that helps a lot. And sometimes, you have to overcome some difficulties because you know what they're doing, you know what they're thinking. But to sum it up, I think it's a good experience, and it helps me a lot to talk very open, frankly, to the colleagues, to the former colleagues, and we achieve better results for that. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I believe it, of course, helps that you have personal relationships. That is kind of a foundation on which we can build. On the other hand, even though I'm a technical guy, I believe what's also important for a partnership is to find the right business model. So when you look at this event, where we are both investing as sponsors, as main sponsors, we both have a stake and we want to make the best out of it. This is why we sit here.
Yeah, sure.
And that also holds true for new kinds of projects where the digital technology becomes closer and closer to business. So we are moving from owning cars to using mobility services digitally enabled. And that, of course, also calls for new business models. And I believe that based on the foundation of also personal relationships, which are important, and being both located in Munich is of course also helping. We also need to evolve into these new business models together, and also breaking up a little bit the provider-supplier relationship towards a new way of doing business.
Now. That's more on the high level. It's not the classical provider and customer relationship. Knowing each other personally, seeing in person makes it a high level for that, and that's a very important factor for success.
Yeah. I was going to talk. You mentioned, the provider. Is there a gulf between your working relationship, or do you find that you feel like you're working for a company, as one company on the same vision?
Not feeling like working for the same company, but working on the same topic and for the same reason. I think that's it. We're working for the same reason, and we want to make this technology work. And that's the same on Oliver's side as on my side. So both of us have happy customers. While our customers are the BMW drivers, I'm the customer of Oliver. So I think we gain a lot of that.
And what does it take to pull off? Because there's a lot of tech that's happening here. How in sync do you have to be as a partnership to pull off something like this?
I think it's like a dance. It always takes two people to dance, right? Sometimes one side has to step ahead. Sometimes the other has to step ahead. In traditional commercial models, it's of course the customer who needs to lead. Another analogy to dance. But that's changing now also with the new commercial models. And now it's maybe also us to take the lead and to provide, for example, full stack solutions where we also have our own value proposition that we can bring to then joint customers and maybe even open up industries. So with digitalization, also the boundaries between certain industries, like for example, not only the automotive industry, but maybe also bring in the insurance industry and how to bridge that gap. And since we are working for both automotive and insurance clients, that's of course an area where we can take the first step and help building new ways of generating value in a digital world.
And Frank, where do you see this partnership developing into the future?
Well, basically, as Olive already told, it's about the leading and this leading changes. Yeah? Before that, we just go to our providers and we want this and we want that. Now I think it changed more than to provide a vision. Because we can trust on our providers that they have best knowledge in technology and some more knowledge in a broader range of industries. So we can come up and say, okay, I understood your vision, but I have this one idea. Maybe we should talk about that. And I think that's quite different than we used to work together. Yeah.
Well, of course, the BMW International Open is not the only sporting event that NTT DATA is partnered with. So let's take a look around the world where they're providing help in the sporting fields.
Sports are fast and furious, precise and hard-hitting. Sports can be a slog or elegant, but sport is always about the fans. All across the world, NTT is using technology to shape the future of sports and bring fans closer to the action.
What I love most, I think, just that human interaction with a machine and both of them having to have a perfect day and celebrate winning the Indianapolis 500. What I love about the sport today is there's still those elements of why we were built to test technology, and no place is better to test new technologies than the IndyCar and the IndyCar series, but then in the venue as well, making sure our customers feel that technology experience as well.
You can't see the whole track, so you don't know what's happening if you're sitting in turn 1, what's happening in turn 3. That's been really exciting to be able to have a partner that has the knowledge, that has the experience, that has the desire and the passion to know just as much about our sport as we do.
Bringing all of that together makes that experience better for our customer. The customer really feels engaged and they walk away feeling like they got insider information that at the end of the day makes the experience so much better, and I got a better chance of getting them to come back and enjoy the Indy 500 again.
What I love in the Tour de France, this is the technical challenge every day. And when you are talking about technology, when you are explaining that every day, all the infrastructure, all the system is moving, is shutting down, moving during the night, relight in the morning, it's really complicated, it's really complex. We absolutely need to be agile, to be scalable.
It's always inspiring to see that we can push the barriers, go further together and create new ideas. We need to connect, we need to engage with all these kind of fans. With the smart stadium, we can create even more connection between people who are on the road and people who are watching the Tour de France in front of their TV or on their mobile.
This is the concept of a smart stadium. A lot of services has been deployed in a fixed stadium for the fans, and our idea is to build the same type of experience, but outdoor, in the middle of nowhere, I would say. Give more services to the people being able to download virtual reality application for localizing the race.
And thanks to NTT, you are definitely more part of the tour than before.
Close to the spirit of the Tour de France. We are just building something that it doesn't exist for the moment.
What I personally love about technology is definitely the social connection that technology can create. That's a part of the greatness of the Tour de France.
MLB and NTT have partnered to contribute MLB's further success by accelerating the future of smart sports and by providing a new fan experience of watching sports through technological innovation that transmits the experience of watching dynamic MLB baseball to remote locations in real time.
Well, NTT DATA and the Open have now had a 10-year relationship, which is great. 10 years has flown by, and I'm delighted with the innovation NTT DATA has brought to the Open. It's really brought the championship to the forefront of sport with everything they do for us, giving the spectator and the fans as much information on the course so they can watch live TV on their app, and they can track all the scores of all the players. They can see the most birdied hole, the most difficult holes. Everything is better for the fans and great for the Open.
NTT, shaping the future of sports.
It's fascinating to see all the different tech that you're involved in. But Oliver, I want to know what new technology you're excited about.
Yeah, there's plenty of technology coming. Previous section we talked about digital and physical coming together, and that's kind of on a macro level because it's about locations, about sensor data, temperatures, and so on. And now it gets on the micro level when you look at biology, for example, and our research division, for example, is currently working on a biodigital twin. So it's not just a digital twin of a golf course or of industrial machinery, but it's now actually a digital twin for the cardiovascular system. And that helps, of course, in delivering personalized treatments and drugs and everything. And also when you look into the automotive technology with the new material science that's required for batteries, it's also getting into the micro level. And the question is then, how can we cope with all the data that is waiting for us on that low level of granularity? And there we need new architectures, we need new paradigms for computing. So one of the fields we are heavily investing in is quantum computing, where you really get out of the limitations of the current computing architectures and can actually process all the data in a new way. And it's not so much just simulating on a digital way what's happening in nature, but especially with quantum, it actually is nature that is doing this computation. And that's the next frontier where natural science is really becoming much more important in computer science in general.
That sounds incredible and complex. How about you? What's the exciting new tech that you see out there?
Well, it's the part of the digital twin. We're also very deep in the idea of having digital twins for all of our vehicles. Then we have this obvious one like the automated driving and driver's assistance. Each of the questions, when will the vehicles drive by themselves? Well, we'll see. But we focus a lot on the experience of the customer, because now if you buy a car, it gets updated. You get updates on a regular basis. You see new features emerging while you're owning the car. It's not the same car than you had last year. So you have next year a new feature, and afterwards a new feature. I think you see your car growing with you. And for that, it's all about the experience that we offer our customer. And bring it back to technology while offering it to our customers. It should seem all seamlessly involved together, and we judge about the health of the vehicle, so we can see if there are any emerging problems and fix them before they occur at the customer. And therefore, technology is a great enabler. Also, collecting data, getting data, making some analysis on that to see trends evolving trends? Is there something with security? Is there something with performance? So the customer gets the best experience out of that.
That's incredibly smart technology when, you know, the car is essentially calling you saying, I'm not feeling well, without telling the customer.
It's more like hidden technology because it's not quite obvious to the customer. It works without being seen, so you get the best experience. Seems somehow strange to say that, but the hidden technology is the best enabler we have to get the certified customers.
And your i7, I didn't get a chance to see it when I did the tour because it's hidden. Why is that?
It's a really precious vehicle, yeah. So if you're looking in the point of the connected vehicles, I think it's the best you can currently get. It's the best of electric vehicles you can currently get, and the best of connectivity, the best of updatability. I think we show them how precious it is, and yeah, we show them in the right setting. So therefore, I think it's in the box. But I'm not quite sure about that.
Okay, well, maybe I'll get a tour off you later on. But
you're welcome.
Oliver, you really brought in an interesting point, Frank, whether that's hidden technology. How important is to have that, the cleverness almost invisible, so it's a more enjoyable experience for the user?
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting field where you also have a blend between design and technology. And one example I like to quote is when you look at the Apple AirPods when you take them out, they have sensors. They immediately stop playing the music and you can actually engage in a conversation. And then you put them back in again and it continues playing. And so it's absolutely natural. If you would ask just an engineer, how can you make a music start and stop? There would be buttons. But there's not a button, there's a sensor. And that's actually a prime example for me where design and technology blends into an experience that is then, as you say, invisible.
And my last question, where do you see sports technology evolving?
Yeah, I really see it evolving into biology area. So we all know about sports watches and stuff like that, and we may all be on Strava and so forth. What's now coming is sensors, for example, that measure your glycogen level while you're doing sports, or they measure the composition of your sweat and draw insights out of that, and then help you with nutrition, for example. And so I believe that this blend between biology and digital technology will be the next thing that helps athletes in sports to become better athletes.
Amazing. Well, that's all the time we have for today. It has been an incredible 4 days. The weather has been amazing, and we hope that you can join us next year for the NTT DATA experience here at the BMW International Open. Goodbye.